the next step to our project is going to be to create profiles. Now, profiles are where you design your vertical curves. In the last step, we did our horizontal curves on the alignment. Now we're going to do our vertical curves on a profile. Now, we came into this drawing with the topo map being shown, and you have to have that surface. It's called a surface. You can go in and see it in here. That EG is existing grade, and you have to have that to start out with. So we're going to start out by doing a profile, and we're going to create a surface profile. And this is going to be for First Street, that big, long First Street. And we want to compare it to EG, existing grade, so we're going to add that. And you always want to click this Draw in Profile View. I've found that if I go straight to clicking OK, it just shuts the command down. So if you Draw in Profile View, this is for First Street. We're going to just leave these defaults in. You can put a description in, and you can go in and change any of these other things as far as visuals go. I usually just make sure it says First Street and then do create a profile view. Now it's going to ask you where you want to put it, so I always come over here to the side, and this will show you as you move along First Street, which it says up at the top here, the red line shows the existing ground moving across the stations of First Street. Now we're going to design the elevations of First Street based on this existing grade. So one thing that we're going to do is go to Profile, and then we want to use Profile Creation Tools, and it's going to ask you which profile. So you'll click on the First Street, and again, leaving these as default is fine. We'll say OK, and it's going to open up your Profile Layout Tools. And we're going to go in and design one that says Draw Tangents with Curves. We definitely want some vertical curvature into this. So you can start out here. And you may want to turn your snaps off on this. This will tend to snap to things it shouldn't sometime. But you want to try when you're drawing your tangents in to stick pretty close to existing grade. I'm going to hit F3 and turn my snaps off. But the closer you stick to existing grade, the better you can control your cut and fill on everything. And it might help to turn your snaps back on at the end if you need to. And then you'll hit escape when you're done, and you'll notice that what you were drawing in were tangents, but if you zoom in, you'll see that it actually puts sag and crest vertical curves around where your tangents were drawn. And it also is going to tell you the grade, and up at the top it's going to give you all of your stations and elevations, your K values, your length of your curve, your high points and station elevation of your high point, beginning of vertical curve, end of vertical curve. All of that is going to be given to you. Isn't that nice? Now one thing you also want to look out for is where we have this intersection. This is going to be around station, what is that station, about 11 is where that ties in. So you may want to try to make it fairly flat around station 11. And right now, we're kind of at a negative 2.37. So if we want to go in and add a flat spot right in here so that we have a nice smooth intersection, what you can do is click on this line, and you can come in here and actually add a point of vertical curvature of an intersection. So if you add that, and we'll put it maybe over here, and then we can also grab and drag these and maneuver them around a little bit. And again, those O snaps might need to be turned off. But if we grab this, you can kind of maneuver where your other PVIs are located. And you can maneuver them up and down and left and right. So we'll bring that one down a little bit. This new one that we put in, we'll bring up and over a little bit. Now you can see around station 11, we have this nice 0.65. That's a lot flatter than what we were dealing with before. Now on the other hand, that requires a whole lot of fill to be put in here. So we may actually want to bring this one down a little bit more, and this cut and this fill might balance each other out a little bit better. Remember that you always want extra cut, if anything. Like, you want your road to be below finished grade as opposed to above it. But right here around station 11, we do have a nice flat, and you can maneuver this around as many times as you need to um, until you get it to where you want it to be. So a minus 0.24, that's pretty flat. And again, this is drawing in all of your curves with it. And you hit escape when you're done. So we've got our first vertical curve profile done for First Street. Now we're going to do one for Second Street, and then one for Second Street edge of pavement. Remember how we had the center line and the edge of pavement. So we're going to go to Profile, Surface Profile, and this one is going to be for Second Street, based on the existing grade. And again, you always want to click the Draw in Profile View, and then the Create Profile View. So come over to the side again, we'll click, we want to put it right here. Second Street is a lot shorter, and that's what you would expect. You may also want to look at what your elevation is when you're tying it in here at station 11. So right here at station 11, we are at an elevation of about 696.572. So if we can tie this in at station 0 on this one at 696.572, which is pretty close, that'll make it a lot easier to tie that intersection together. Now again, on this one, we probably want to do a tangent with curves, and that's going to be after we click on Profile and do a Profile Creation tool. So we'll click that profile is the one we want to do. This is Second Street, a design profile. We'll click OK. Then we'll go in and click the Draw Tangent with Curve, and we want to start out, again, snaps on or off here. We actually want to start out at the same elevation of what the First Street ties in at. Now you can start it anywhere really. We also want it to be very flat though out here on the end where our cul-de-sac is going to be. So I'm just going to do something like that. And again, hit escape when you're done. So you'll see here that this elevation starts at 695. It actually needs to be a little higher. So what you can do is go in and click here, and you can move this up until you get it to where it needs to be. So 696, the other one was 696, that's pretty close. And definitely nice and flat out here on the end. We're going to do this one more time for the edge of pavement. So we're going to go to Profile and Surface Profile, and this is going to be for Second Street edge of pavement. We want to add the existing grade, draw it in Profile View. It does say edge of pavement up here, so we'll create it. We'll put it right over here, and here is our cul-de-sac. Now this is going down the tangent and around the cul-de-sac and then back down the tangent on the other side, if you remember how the stationing runs on that edge of pavement view. So we may want to look at that, because we definitely want from this point where we have that first point of curvature, the 3 plus 6375, from that point on the stationing all the way around to the 6 plus 74, from 3 plus 63 to 6 plus 74, we want it to be nice and flat. And we definitely want it to line up with the elevation here from about station 3 onward. So if we go back in and look at what was the elevation back here from station 3 onward, that elevation was right at 700. So on ours, we want that middle elevation to be right at 700 so that it lines up pretty well. And again, this takes a little adjusting afterwards. So we'll go in and do a Profile Creation tool. We'll do it on the edge of pavement. It is going to be the Second Street edge of pavement, design profile, and then we'll come in and hit OK. We want to do a tangent with curve. So we can start out here, that's fine, but we want to come up here and definitely be at 700, right at 700 all the way across here. And then we'll come down and tie back into the end. and that should tie the two pieces together pretty well. And that step should have you finished with your profile creations.